Welcome my viewer to yet another episode of My Africa. Kama kawa kama dawa. As you can see, I'm never alone as we discuss matters Africa. And as I promised in the last video, if you've not watched it, tutaweka link somewhere hapa hivi so that you can go and see what we did there. This time we're going to be discussing matters urbanization. With me kwa stage niko na mgeni wangu wa power, Sir Michael. Karibu sana kwenye show.
Thank you for having me.
Please, waambia watu kitu bana. It has been long since we met bana.
Thank you for watching our last video, and we are happy that we are here to give you yet another video. And I have here Mr. Spectacular, and this is Showtime Studios. So we are here to give you a show on urbanization and expect something great so that we can know what to expect in the future.
Nice.
As we go forward.
Ndio hiyo sasa wadau. So guys, urbanization in Africa. Without further ado, wacha hadi tusiongee sana. We dive right into urbanization. Bwana Michael, let me try and understand. What do you understand urbanization is?
I think from layman understanding is from what we were taught in school. We were told that urbanization is the chemistry of people moving from local areas called rural into cities.
Yes.
Probably for some better life.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's basically what we are going to be discussing in this video, because we are going to know what is urbanization, why does it occur, how does it occur, what challenges come with urbanization, what opportunities come with urbanization, and then we are definitely going to conclude the video and tell the people what you're going to be talking about in the next episode. So, want you to dive right into it. You've told me that urbanization is that process that people move from rural areas, moving all the way to cities to urban areas, right? Now, let me understand. For a person to move from a rural area to an urban area, there must be a reason behind. And definitely, I guess that's an opportunity. So, I want you to dive right into the opportunities that come with urbanization in Africa. What do you think is going to inavuta watu to the city side of Africa?
I think it's civilization and evolution of mankind. You see, now we are developing.
True.
And cities is where there's convergence of resources in terms of centralization of even governance and administration. You find that even in cities is where you find this big market. So it's easy to find whatever you may need in town. So it becomes convenient for a person to come from rural area to urban city to access some of these resources.
That's very true. Lakini, let me understand. You've moved from a rural area. Unajua people like in Kenya. Let me take an example of Kenya. People move from their native homes and go to Nairobi. And then when they're in Nairobi, they're like, "Wow, enyewe ni shamba ya mawe kabisa, kabisa, kabisa." What perspective do you take of that? Is it that all cities are shamba za mawe?
I don't know, but maybe it's the truth. But what we should understand when we say shamba la mawe is that the systems of operations in cities and towns is driven by your purchasing power, and that's money, that's currency.
Yes.
And it is easy to get money in towns because there is that faster flow of money, other than comparing the village or in the local setup.
That's very true.
So when you come to town and you find that finding this money to get you the purchasing power is not as easy as you may thought. And back at home, you remember that without even money, you would have a meal.
Yeah, you would eat, you would go have fun with your friends. But then, me I say, kuna kitu moja nasemanga, in as much as there are opportunities that come, there are still challenges. But before we venture into those challenges, let's talk of these opportunities that come with cities. What do you think that this city in come close to me, what does it come with that's going to benefit that local person mwenye amepatwa hapo na that city?
I think urbanization is where the 2010 constitution drove the idea of what they call devolution or services closer to you.
Yes.
Now, when you talk of urbanization, is going closer to the services.
Yes.
So the mostly is, as you kind of bracket into it, opportunities. The opportunities you find mostly in towns is easy access to money, because if you have a product, it's easier to sell, because in town you have that wider coverage and of audience if your product is, I don't know, and even market depending on who we are targeting.
True.
So when you talk of the opportunities, it is easy access to whoever or whatever that you may require.
True, but then these cities, they still come with people who want to invest in them so much. I believe that with this investment, it brings forth job opportunities, new connections, new people from different ethnic communities. I guess that's what brings in the community, the togetherness, the life in the cities. But then, leaving that alone, talking of opportunities, but there are these things we call the smart, is it smart farming, is it smart energy, something of, but then the pollution in these cities, I guess that's what brings in that smart, smart what?
Smart infrastructure?
Yeah, smart infrastructure. That is, you can have like rooftop gardens, you can have your water being pumped underground your building, and then inakuja kwako ukiwa 5th floor. I don't know how this science works, but this is urbanization for Africa right now, and that's the trajectory that we are taking. Let me ask you a very simple question. In the next 4-5 years, where do you think urbanization will be in Kenya first?
I think it's something that is going to be really messed up.
Why do you say messed up?
Because the management of urban areas and management of urbanization from inception of our country after independence, or even before that, was driven merely for opportunities, not based on the native interests. And what makes the native go to the cities is that feel of denial of service that is not available in the
rural areas.
Yeah, and now he wants it, and he goes for it in towns. So looking forward probably 5 or even more years to come, unless we sit down and restructure urbanization, it's going to be chaotic. As you can see right now, even though there are these opportunities, whatever we are having in towns is a mess, because we have numerous people in towns sleeping hungry, because it's not as what is not. There are no jobs in towns. As you go get a job, it's not as easy, and if you get a job, the purchasing power right now is diminished because of the cost and the economics of global economics, which is unfortunate.
Let me ask you, but sorry for cutting you short. Is it a global economic, or is it only happening in Kenya?
I think if we say that it is global, it means that the monetary management and system is centralized in a way, and it is this way because Africa being referred as the weakest continent.
Yes.
And Kenya, our country, suffering this economic
times. These hard economic taxable times.
It is inevitable for our country, because she has no power over the now global monetary management system.
That's why they are taxing us that bad.
Because once you pull a string on one end, it is going to react on the other end.
True, definitely. When you pull this side is almost like it's pushing or something. Now, you have talked about these opportunities that come with cities, right? But then, before the opportunities arrive, do you think that cities are only best when they are being built, and after they have been built, they turn into something completely different?
I think we should refocus how we approach urbanization on opportunities, because from what I understand, cities have grown into mega cities probably by building and all this infrastructural development. But surely it is about maintaining some kind of underlying managemental but it's not based on the need and want of the native of the person or the citizen of that country.
What is it based on? If it's not based on the need of this person, what is it based on?
I think there are many things to consider there. One is management of governance.
True. And by the way, that's something that really needs to be twitched or to be touched as you are coming up with urban areas, because without management in an urban organization, I'm pretty sure you're bringing up a disaster other than an opportunity for people.
Exactly. Because urbanization is not development.
Then what is urbanization?
Urbanization is, of course, it's growth and improvement of the environment, if you may have to say, in a particular area. But development is something that should be internal first before it's outside or outward.
So you should first of all develop yourself and then you go and develop somewhere else. What do you mean by internal?
I mean our country, Africa and the globe probably have taken it wrongly, but being a Kenya, I'll talk of Kenya. Because we have been taught to look at outside. Now when you come to a city, it has all these structures, a lot of people moving up and down, and maybe easy transportation and easy access to services.
Yes.
You and probably you can be able to afford this and get that. You feel like you have it all, or probably you are better. But in a nutshell, or the real matter here is that we are taught to appreciate what we can see by repressing or diminishing what we really feel inside. Because what happens, or what should happen, is that there should be that connection between the urban or the area that you are in with yourself. So with all these developments, with all this urbanization thing or whatever, there is so much disconnection.
No. Let me just take a different perspective of this whole story. Fine, we've already built the cities, we have brought the people in, they are living there. What will happen to these lands that these people have moved from, the rural areas? What is going to happen to those lands?
I think this matter is probably harder than we are discussing here, because what we are doing is we are disintegrating our cultural and traditional setups. When you move from your local area to town, you kind of disconnect from your foundation.
You leave your culture kidogo, and then you're like, yo, nitakam baadaye, let me first of all rush and do 1, 2, then I'll be right back.
And when you come to town, you come town and you get localized or decolonized. I don't know, because you come into a town and then you start changing your behavior and your character to fit in that town. Exactly. So what happens? You see somebody who is from town going back to the village, and he's a different person.
True. So what now I'm going to tell you, this is basically the things that we are talking about. Urbanization, what challenges does it bring to the African community? What opportunity does it bring to the African community? But for the meantime, tutachukua that short break, we go have tukunywe maji kidogo, and then we're going to be right back. Please, ebu see some of these things that we are showing you hapo hivyo before we come back. Wacha tukunywe maji.